I use modern women and men use sexuality for the most part as a tool to get away from themselves by performing in illegitimate actions, illegitimate from the point of view of nature and nature's law. You're creating some kind of ripple by a misaction that once you leave the exchange, it stays with you and perturbs you at an unconscious level and sometimes at a conscious level. You may experience this as guilt, you may experience this as disgust, as etc. etc. It fills you, doing something wrong fills you with an experience. And people use that, this misaction to keep busy, getting away from themselves, being caught in nonsense. So I just fucked around. I feel guilty. Now I'm stuck with feeling guilty. Instead of feeling myself, I feel guilty. Instead of being with myself and feeling my emptiness and having my existential questions and finding that my life has no meaning, now I feel I have this guy inside of me and I feel disgusting and I hate him and I don't want him here. So now I'm busy. I have something to do that keeps my attention away from myself. It's like having a movie playing inside yourself. So people use sexuality a lot in these days for that. And I'd like to add that this kind of experience is becoming so intense and so traumatic that people are now preferring to opt out of sexuality because this is becoming so violent. It's becoming so, like the level of awkwardness is just increasing. It's exponentially increasing. So if in my time it was awkward, where we barely had access to porn, how awkward is it today for an 18-year-old who's been brought up on porn and his father may had sex with his mom watching porn? Like how awkward his relationship as a young man with a young woman must be. So how painful, so if it was awkward for us, how awkward is it for the next 2-3 generations that have passed since my time? So the awkwardness is becoming so intense that you're like, I don't want to deal with this. Who wants to deal with this? And this is science. There's stats that prove what I'm saying. It's like people who want to opt out of sexual engagement. They don't want a relationship with the opposite sex because it generates too much anxiety. It's equal pain. People don't want pain. It generates too much pain. So at what point do people stop to have an intelligent conversation? Yeah, but why? What's happening? Well, I'm trying to point out there's something flawed in the basic understanding of what a man is, what a woman is, what they're even just theoretically, we can't even agree. Yet it's so simple, nature shows you what it is. And then man has gone so far from himself, woman so far from himself, and you have culture that holds and maintains that ideological faux pas, right? And holds that diseased grid. And so people don't want to deal with this. So we can barely have a conversation about it. People get triggered, people get annoyed, but people want to talk about this. They want to hear about this. But the implications also are very profound. Well, do you understand what I'm saying? I'm like, this is the basics, the ABC of the human experience as man and woman. And look how screwed up it's become that men and women don't want to have nothing to do with one another. Forget the warfare that is generated by social construct, right? They don't want to deal with each other because it creates too much anxiety. It doesn't create anxiety. It highlights the inner anxiety that both people have. That's what sexuality is. Sexuality highlights what is. But it can be very intense, especially if the sexuality is uncontrolled. So it just highlights more of what you are. So if you're anxious, you're extra anxious. If you're paranoid, you're more paranoid. If you're full of love, you're more full of love. If you're passionate, you're more passionate. It highlights all what's inside of you and all your mental unbalances. So men and women don't want to deal with this. So to have a conversation about it is necessary, but from where do we have a conversation? What's the starting point? We can't even agree. Well, no, you say man and woman, you already have a fight. Religious doctrine, we have a fight. So how do we? So we cannot have a conversation either. I'll tell you the outcome. Man is unhappy, woman is unhappy. because they're designed to collaborate together. Now that collaboration can evolve over time, no problem. But they're still designed to collaborate with one another, not one having the power over the other. This is inhumane. It's unhealthy and everybody suffers. And the byproduct of such a relationship is more pain and suffering. That means the children are in pain and generate more pain. So something's fishy, something's wrong, and you as an intelligent person listening to me I invite you to take a couple of minutes and sit your ass down. If you haven't already done that, it's like, well, what the fuck is going on? I'm trying to point out that there's something fundamentally flawed in our understanding of sexuality. Because if you watch the Living Health series, you should. The story goes as such, and I'm going to do the fast forward version. Once upon a time, I worked in a hospital, and then it hit me. The byproduct of society is disease. Horrible disease, suffering, and death. So obviously, these people who are pretending to be doctors don't know fuck all about health, because the outcome of their system is more suffering and disease, horrible disease and death. So I can see with my own eyes and with my hands, because I worked at the hospital, cleaning people's shit and putting dead bodies in body bags and bringing them to the morgue, right? And wiping the ass of a dead person. Now, I did that also. I'll never forget that. It was a moment I had a big smile because I like new experiences. I'm like, well, I'm wiping the ass of a dead person. Who does that? I did. A few people of you did that. Shout out to you. God bless you. You know the deal. Respect to the corpse. The point is, something clicked in my brain that something's wrong with what's presented to me. So unless we do the same thing with sexuality, it's like, well, look at human relations, you look at man and woman, you look at their relationships, you can look at it from whatever angle you want. From your own anxiety, from statistical point of view, from whatever you want. What does it say? Something's wrong. So like I said in regards to health, the paradigm in which the modern medicine is established is false, because its outcome is just disease. Now, it could work for some people, but the outcome is suffering. So something about the paradigm is false, because what it leads to, unless its purpose is to lead to suffering, so it's not false, but its outcome is suffering. So in the same way, the paradigm in which we are established in regards to sexuality, and sexuality means man, woman, female, male, that's what it means. I don't give a fuck how you want to spin it around. That's how it's designed. You want to complexify things because you don't know where you identify in this. You can do that, but at the end of the day, its polarity means plus and minus. And the polar expression of a man is a cock, and the polar expression of the feminine principle is a womb, vagina. Okay? Everybody knows this. It doesn't matter where you feel in the spectrum, you can at least understand the basics of biology and how nature operates. We can see that in this basic dance, there is a disease. That's why the outcome of it is anxiety and suffering and suffering and suffering and suffering and suffering. That means the paradigm in which our modern relationships and even our past relationships, that means past generation, is established, the paradigm leads to suffering. Now, if you're not able to do that for yourself, well, what can I tell you? You must not be making an effort. I could have insulted you right there. Today's a good day. So I did that exercise in regards to health. I said, this is bullshit. And I found something else. Works for me, God bless me, God bless you. And I did the same with sexuality. I'm like, my relationship, I have a fundamental attraction and a repulsion to women. Deep down, I'm not going to say I need her, but it's like my life doesn't make sense if she's not there. Yet when she's there, I fucking hate her. I can't fucking stand her. And all I'm trying to do is have control. And all I'm seeing is her do the same thing. So something's fucking wrong. And I don't know how to put order in it. And everything I read is just a load of shit. It's all nonsense. And no matter what I'm trying to do, there's a fundamental pain that I'm having and she's having. And I care about her, so I can feel her when she's in pain. And I'm seeing how she responds when she's in pain, which pains me. And it's all just pain, 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 pain. Unless I become a hustler, put a facade on, get my drink on, get my smoke on, and I go home with something to poke on, and then now we can play the game, but somebody's going to get hustled, and it's generally going to be her, but sometimes it's not going to be me. So, and then I feel something's wrong with the paradigm. So that made me re-question myself, sexuality, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, and care to reinvestigate those things. And what I found is astonishing. I'm like, well, there's literally another way. Just like with health, there's literally something else. But this is the default. So unless you're intelligent, intelligence means, well, look at the byproduct of my choices. These are, unconscious is the default system, I suffer. Yeah, okay, so we can say either it's wrong or it's designed to make you suffer, and it's the same, this is health, same with sexuality, the byproduct of my default system is suffering. So how do I win? When you can never win, nobody wins. Well, it doesn't take a very rocket scientist to nobody wins, don't you get it? Nobody ever wins. Everybody loses. Even if you win, you just lost. Like, you understand? As a man, you want, what do you want? It's to bring light in the life of a woman. So now you hustled her, so you beat her, but the very fact that you beat her, you lost because you didn't succeed at allowing her to relax and bloom into her power, which is a testimony to your manness. So you lost. So you can never win. Conclusion. If you're intelligent and you're sensitive to what I'm saying, what does it mean? It means our default paradigm leads to disease, suffering, and death. Therefore, there must be something else. And if there's not, you owe it to yourself to look for it if you're dissatisfied with this. And I'm telling you, I'm speaking from the other side. I'm like, no, there's something else. And if you'd like to discover this, well, it exists. That's what I'm here to say. And I know this default system. I know it very well. I know it well enough to be able to speak on it, to share my experiences with it, and say, at the end, what did I get? I'm very unhappy, pain. Even if it's not, I just got screwed over. No, I won the game more times than I lost. It doesn't matter. Like I said, you win, you actually lost.